Welcome to Popolio Podcast. I'm your host, Freddie Beat, or just Freddie. This is the very first of what I hope will be a series of interesting and fun interviews. Today, my guest isn't here yet. She hasn't called in, but I will be talking to country singer Jenni Dale Lord. So I have some questions for her, and I'm nervous because it's the first one, and I haven't podcasted a lot. Did it a little bit many years ago. I had a blog, but I was more of a blogger than I was a podcaster during that time. And at the beginning of it, I had a creative partner, and he knew a lot about podcasting. But I focused more on like text posts. Um, so I'm gonna pause it for a while here and wait for my guest. Well, welcome to Popolio Podcast. Actually, the very first one, so thank you for doing this.
Oh, nice. I guess you took a break, huh? Or
It's been years. Yeah, I haven't really blogged or done anything or interviewed in many, many years.
wow. Well, I'm honored to be a part. Thank you.
Well, thank you. You're so experienced and professional, so thank you for taking time for this little humble beginning.
Well, that's very kind of you to say.
So let's start. For those, I know you have a following and fans, but for those who may not know who you are, tell us who you are and tell us about your music.
Sure. My name is Jenni Dale Lord, and I've kind of had a musical journey, but right now you can find me on country music radio. I started doing music a long time ago, and I'm from Lubbock and moved to Austin to pursue music like a lot of people do. And I was a chef by day and musician by night. And when I was in Austin, I very much considered myself a folk rock singer. I was out to save the world, if you will. But then, life changed, and I ended up coming back home to Lubbock, where I met Tina Turner, whom you probably remember from my lipstick letter days. I know way back when you did a piece on us then also.
Yeah,
And yeah, and then we ended up going our separate ways, and I kind of made my way into the music scene, or the country music scene, and started wearing cowboy boots and drinking even more whiskey, and now you can find me on country radio. I still love my rock and roll, my folk rock roots. You can still find the influences in my music, but if you want to hear me, through the stereo, country radio is where it's at.
So you consider yourself more country?
I definitely have a lot of country songs that are played on country radio. I
Nice.
consider myself more Americana, which is kind of like a blending of folk and country and blues and rock, because I definitely have influences of all of those genres in my music. But it's hard to put a label on yourself when you like so many different things.
Right. And I think Americana is fitting. That kind of covers a few things at least.
I think so. So when people ask me directly what kind of music, I say Americana, and usually they go, "What's that?" So then I'm like, "Oh, here's a whole other story." So
So obviously we're in this pandemic right now that is like so surreal and crazy, at least to me. I think to everybody really.
it is
How are you
definitely changing life. Yes.
coping, or even with the music, like what are you doing differently, or how has it affected you personally, but also as an artist as well?
Well, I think most of my life is surrounded, engulfed in being an artist. So to separate a personal versus an artist, I really can't do that because that
Right.
is my life. Um, on it, obviously, like all the restaurants and bars are closed down, and you can't be around groups of people. You can't have concerts. You can't have anything to do like that. So obviously, I'm out of work, which is stressful to say the least. Especially because I just have a new album that's about to come out that we keep having to put off, and
I want
um,
to talk about that some more too. Yes.
yeah, we'll definitely get to that. So one thing that's going on right now, which is kind of cool, is a lot of radio stations and things like that are getting artists on their Facebook pages to basically do Facebook Live concert shows. And, they don't pay necessarily, but the listeners have the opportunity to tip if they so desire. So there is a chance to make a little bit of money, which does help rather than having absolutely no income coming in. But it's definitely not on the same level as like what it was before all of this happened. But it's still a chance to interact with my fans and friends and play music, which is obviously really satisfying for the soul, and make a little bit of money in the meantime. Plus, doing it for different radio stations, you're getting to play for their audiences on their Facebook pages more so than just fans you've already acquired throughout the years.
Yeah, I listened to the one you did yesterday, and it was fun to listen to. And I actually didn't know some things, so it helped me come up with some extra questions as well.
Oh, nice. Well,
How
that
is
was
that?
my first one in an 11-day stretch. I have 11 days of shows coming up, all straight in a row, and that was the beginning of that stretch. So I'm glad you listened.
But you've been doing it a couple weeks or a week?
Oh yeah, no, I've been doing it since they started doing it. I've totally jumped on board right at the beginning of all of this, but I was just saying I'm about to have 11 shows in a row,
Right, right.
and that was the first of 11 days. Yes.
And
So.
how is Texas? Because I know, if I'm not mistaken, the governor of Texas did not officially, what do you call it, issue a stay-at-home order or advisory. But I guess local, maybe governors and not governors, mayors, I guess maybe did, or cities.
Yes and no. Like I know that I think he has had to jump in some cities that he didn't feel were doing as good a job as they could, and kind of had to say, this is what you need to be doing. This is what I recommend. But he pretty much has said he wanted a lockdown until April 30th.
Okay.
And so that's where we are. But I think technically he has left it up to the cities because every mayor is implementing it in their own way. But at the same time, no, we're definitely being told, at least until April 30th, that we need to be in our homes and not going out unless absolutely necessary. So.
And how is it different from before? Before you would be doing live shows in bars and venues, I imagine, obviously. But are you doing more on, you know what I mean? Are the shows online now more than you would be doing, or is it the same amount of shows you normally are used to doing?
I'm probably working, I was really lucky. I would play live shows 5 times a week on average, so it's definitely a full-time job, but I'm probably doing it maybe a little bit more, but just by like an hour or two, just to try to, I just don't want to miss any opportunity to do this because I have no idea what's coming around the corner, so I'm definitely taking advantage of everything that comes along.
And this is another question I had. I'm not an artist, a musician, or a musical artist. As far as distribution and sales, I would think it hasn't affected much on that end because people were more online already, streaming and downloading. Am I right about that, or has there been some change to that?
Honestly, for me, I have more action in a live show.
Oh, okay.
But I have a demographic that isn't the younger generation, which is all about online music. I have a demographic that likes to have physical things in their hands and that wants to be there and allows me to make sales and stuff like that there, which I prefer over online anyway. But I guess we'll see now that there's not an opportunity to do it live if it's going to jump up those Spotify listeners or something like that. But I think the opportunity to play the shows online is also helping buffer that need that they have to be involved in live music, because there's nothing like a live show. There's nothing like interacting.
Right.
And
Mm-hmm.
I know for me and my fans, that is what we enjoy the most, is that ability to have the one-on-one thing going on. So.
Are you trying to push online more of that now, though? Are you mentioning it more, asking people to download or stream?
Not necessarily. I am promoting the live shows, if I can get people to listen in and if I'm lucky, tip so I can, buy groceries and stuff, that would be
Right.
great. But no, I wouldn't say I'm much of a promoter in that kind of sense anyway. Like if I have a big cool event coming up, I promote that heavily, or if I have a single, things like that. I try to promote that, but I'm not usually like, hey, buy my music on Amazon or hey, listen to me on
Right.
Spotify. It's just an occasional thing, I want people to do it because they want to, not because I'm trying to cram it down their throat. So
Right. And well, definitely at the end, I want you to give where they can find you for those online shows. And if you want to give, I don't know if you want to give all the dates, but maybe you could give a couple of the dates that are coming up.
sure. Well,
So
I know
let's
you're not going to air this right away, so I'll just talk about how they can access those dates. How about
right,
that?
true. I guess if you knew what your
Yeah.
shows are coming up. Good point.
Yeah.
Um, let's talk about the new record then. So this is your, I want to say fifth overall.
This is my fifth album. Yes, it's technically my sixth, but you can't really get the first one anymore. And then, so I pretty much claim the fifth. This is my fifth Jenni Dale Lord label, if you will, sort of an album. It's called Sometimes a Girl Needs the Blues, and it's got a lot of blues influence in it, obviously by the title. And it was originally supposed to come out on May 2nd, but with all of this pandemic and lockdowns and stuff, we pushed the date back to June 20th, and we'll see if that is feasible or not, and just kind of roll with the flow. I can't keep pushing it back forever. I got to release my album, but if I can have a great big party to go with it, which was my plan, I would like that even more. So.
And it's you said it obviously a lot of blues, but what other is there obviously country on there as well?
Oh yeah, I mean it's my traditional style. There's going to be some more countryer sounding songs that I can release to radio, and it's not traditional blues like Stevie Ray Vaughan kind of blues, but it definitely has a lot of blues influence. Say maybe like old school Etta James. This album's going to have a lot of vintage tones to it, so like vintage country, vintage blues, vintage rock, lots of 80s rock influences on it. So it's really awesome. I really am excited to bring this record to everybody. It's my favorite one thus far. The one thing I've always said I wanted to do was make each album better than the one before, and I think that this one is right on track to keep that going.
And it's all original music, or are you doing any covers on it?
It is all original music. However, this is the first album that I am putting a song on there that I didn't write. It's not a cover necessarily because no one has released it, and I'm not taking a previously released song, so it's a new song. I just didn't write it.
So all your material is original. You don't do covers on your albums normally.
That is correct. There
All
are no
written by
covers
you.
on any of my albums, and
Do you-
except for this one song, every song has been written by me. Yes.
And do you produce as well, or do you work with producers? Or I know it's live music, but you know what I mean. What's your process?
Oh no, well, as far as the songwriting goes, it's just something I tend to do on my own. But then I take my song to my producer and kind of let him know the overall vibe that I'm wanting to get from it, and he just kind of puts his thoughts into it. And then when we make an album, we just kind of build it together. And well, what do you think about this? What do you think about this? Let's try it this way. It's just sort of a thing. And yeah, I've been using the same producer for the last 4 albums that I've made, and I've actually known him for close to 30 years. So we get along really well, and we think a lot alike, and we just work really well together. His name is Scott Ferris, and I make my records at Amusement Park Recording Studio, which is his studio. So
And I was listening to your music on Spotify, yeah, and I only saw the five. Wait, there was one under your own name, and then there were like four. No, wait, three. on Jenni Dale Lord Band, correct?
Yes, this will be the fourth Jenni Dale Lord Band album.
And why did you transition from that solo moniker on that album, which I guess was the second album, or was that officially the debut album, to a band?
Well, and that's the thing. So yeah, the Blue album, the Jenni Dale Lord album, was an album that I made after Lipstick Letters broke up, and I was going to Texas Tech. I was finishing my bachelor's, and they were building a recording studio in the basement of the library. Are you still there? Something sounds
I'm
different.
here, I'm listening. Yeah, can you hear me?
Oh, no, it's okay. No, the tone changed. Like maybe it was disconnected, so I just wanted to make sure.
Oh, no, no, I was
So
just listening.
oh, no, but I'm just telling you, like there was like a, like an open line sound before, then suddenly it was like gone sound. So I was like, oh my gosh, did it disconnect? Anyhow, so I was going to Texas Tech and finishing my bachelor's there, and they decided to open up a recording studio in the basement of the library. And they asked me to be the first project coming out of there. And at the time, I hadn't played
Oh,
with a band very much, except for the few things I did with Lipstick Letters. And, we were a duo, and we had just started to put a band together when we broke up. And so all I had was this collection of songs and all of these friends who were musicians. And I said, all right, sure. And so we kind of all collaborated and made this album, which at the time was seriously like the best thing that I could do. And then fast forward a couple years later, I had put together a band, and I had an actual sound that I was going for, and it just was just something different. And my bandmates, really wanted to feel like they were part of a band rather than just backup players, which I totally get and respect. And so I'd already worked so hard on establishing my brand, Jenni Dale Lord, after Lipstick Letters broke up, that I didn't want to give that away. I already had my brand. I wanted to keep it. So I decided to kind of compromise, and rather than have an actual band name, we were Jenni Dale Lord Band. And so that's just kind of where I am now, because it is a full band rather than just a solo artist. And we have had band member changes throughout there, but once you establish yourself, I don't think I necessarily need to go changing my name every couple albums, so.
right, yeah. And then I noticed sorry, the order is off for me. I apologize. But Reboot was one of the Jenni Dale Lord albums, right? Band
Jenni
albums.
Dale Lord Band. Yeah, Reboot was the most recent band album. It came out in 2018. I put out a new album every 2 years, so I had the Blue album in 2012,
That's the one
the Never
that's
Let
not
Go.
Blue's not online, right? You said that's the one that's not really out there.
It's online. That's the one that is just the name.
Oh, that's the Blue album. Okay.
Yeah.
But I
Yeah.
noticed that one has a lot of songs. The Reboot, which I guess that's why you called it Reboot, I'm assuming, has
Yes.
some songs, but they're not all the songs. It's just a few, like some of them with some new stuff, right?
Well, no, it's actually all of the songs except for All Along and Lover Don't Leave, which are two bluesy songs that I saved to put on the Sometimes a Girl Needs a Blues album. So yeah, kind of back to what I was going through with the library. It was a first for me. It was a first for them. I didn't really know how I wanted my songs to sound, and it was just a learning process for everybody involved. And so I had all of these songs that I felt I could do better, and we'd never released them to radio or never done anything like that. So I decided I wanted to reboot the album and make it the way I would make it today, now that I had learned a lot and had a sound and had a band and had all that stuff. So we rebooted the album, the Blue
And
album, yeah.
I assume it's a fuller, bigger sound on that one than the first one, the previous one.
I mean, it kind of sounds like it, even though it's the same amount of instruments and stuff, but it's just, it's just different because that's the sound that I make now, and it's the players that I use and the producer that I use and the equipment that I use. And so it definitely has a bigger sound to it. But if you count the pieces, it's not necessarily any bigger than what we did before.
Oh, and let's let everyone know who doesn't know you. You play guitar. Do you play any write guitar? Anything else? Do you play any other instruments?
Well, piano was my first instrument, and I still like to write songs on the piano, but I definitely wouldn't say that I play the piano. I fake my way around it enough to write a song, and then I take it to a piano player and say, make it sound beautiful. So, yeah, I, played the saxophone in the marching band and dibble and dabble in certain other things, but mainly I'm a singer who pretends to play an acoustic guitar at the same time. So.
Okay. And where can people get the album if they want to order it? And will there be a digital version they can get as well?
Yeah, all of my albums are online. You can find them on all the digital outlets. Anywhere you can buy digital music, you can find it. Jenni Dale Lord Band. But if you want a hard copy, you just go to the website jennidalelord.com and order it there, and I'll send it to you.
And then let's talk about this party, the release party. When is that going to
Yeah,
happen?
let's
You're
talk
still
about it.
planning to have it, I assume. It sounds like it.
June 20th is right now is the hope. June
The
20th.
same day as the official release.
Oh yes, I'm not releasing the album until the party, because one thing I've done differently with this album than the ones before is I've withheld a lot of songs. So before, in the past, before we'd even get into the recording studio, we would play pretty much every song just to make sure we had it down, and we could go in the studio and cut it as quickly as possible. And by that I mean like not having lots of mistakes and not having to do it over, because time is money. And so we would be really prepared when we go into the studio and do it then. But this album I did not do it that way. I just, as I kind of mentioned before, had a collection of songs and took them to my producer, and we kind of built the album in the studio. At least for some of the songs. There are a handful of songs that we have been playing and promoting for a while, but I do not want people to hear those songs until the party, because I just kind of want it to be like a surprise. So that's
Nice.
why we didn't necessarily push back the album release because we couldn't release the album. We pushed back the album release because we wanted to release it at the party.
And is that open to the public? Do they have to buy tickets, or how does that work?
Yes and yes. You get tickets on the website. I got fantastic Texas singer-songwriter James Cook opening up the show. And the band will come on and after that and play the whole album plus some of our greatest hits. And then we'll have a DJ to close out the night. And it comes with food, and we'll have other fun events going on. And, $25. You can get those tickets on jennidalelord.com as well.
And it's in Lubbock, I assume.
It is in Lubbock. Yeah, we rented out an event center, and it's going to be awesome.
Nice. So I wanted to ask two things about the new project. How is it, or just, well, your music in general, but first, how is it different how is this new album different than the other projects you've worked on?
Well, it's definitely going to be a bit bluesier, but going to have the same sort of vibe to it. They're all songs that I write on every single album, so even when it sounds different, which I definitely try to do, there's still that same sort of continuity of coming from the same sort of style of writing and place. But it's just, hopefully there's a growth in the songs and in the music, and, just the journey of an artist. I really hope that shines through, and I just think that the quality of the songs have improved. And, that's not to say I think any less of the songs from the previous albums, because I don't. I just really hope that I've grown, and I hope I continue to grow, and I hope that the next album I make in 2022 will be better than this one, and so on and so on.
And I did notice, so like I said, I was on Spotify, and it was just an interesting thing I noticed. All the cover pictures don't really have you on it. They're very cool, interesting, photos or concepts. How come it's not you? Like the Blue album has you on the cover, obviously, but then the other ones are just different images. I guess it is you with the boots and holding the drink, I guess, I assume.
That is
On
correct.
whiskey.
That is me with the whiskey. Yeah.
How come is that?
I don't know. I have no desire to have my face on a record. Like even the Blue album, like I'm looking down, you can't really see me. There are pictures on the inside, like you can see pictures of the band on the inside and stuff like that. But for me, the cover, I guess I'm kind of old school, and like I think the cover art should be art, not a
It
picture
is.
of
They're
me. It should
fun.
be
They're fun
something
images.
neat. So that's just
Is it
kind
also
of a
because
thing
you
you
have a
have to.
band and you don't want? Well, you could put a band picture. I guess it doesn't have to just be you necessarily.
Yeah, no, it's not about that at all. I want the cover art, like I said, to be a piece of art. And I don't think a photograph of people is necessarily the art that I'm looking for. I'm looking for something a little more abstract or creative, or something visually appealing that's not just a picture. And nothing against albums that are like that. Some of my favorite albums are like that. It's just I don't know, it's not my style, I guess.
And do you come up with the concepts, or do you and the band come up with them, and do you work with professional photographers to get those done?
Um, Sort of all of the above. It really just depends on the record. Like the Never Let Go album, honestly, my brother designed that one, and I kind of just let him go with it based on the songs. And yeah, I try to surround myself with people who are really good at what they do, so I don't have to do their job for them, And I get veto power, I get final approval, but I kind of just like to see everybody else's creativity come out. And like Sometimes a Girl Needs a Blues album, I passed that along to an artist. I said, all right, make it something cool. That's pretty much, and I'll say yes or no, and we'll see what comes out of it.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what that. I'm assuming you haven't released the image yet, so I'm curious and excited to see what you did with that one.
I have no idea what it is yet either.
Oh.
It hasn't come out yet. I have said I'd like a picture soon, so I can. But with this whole quarantine thing, everybody's kind of at a loss trying to figure out what their next step is. So it's really crazy right now, really crazy.
So I want to talk about the collaboration with Joe Ely. I didn't know who he was because country's not really what I listen to, but I did try to research. I'll be honest about that, I didn't. But he's obviously a legend, a Grammy winner as well.
Yes,
How,
and he's probably doesn't consider himself a country singer. He's definitely like rock and roll, But I mean, he's got some country influences, but I don't
yeah,
think he would call himself a country singer. But yeah, Joe Ely, amazing.
you did a song with him. So how did that come together? Did you know him already, or well, just walk us through that? How did that come together? Already Gone is the song.
Already Gone. Yes, my biggest hit to date, made it up to number 23 on the Texas music charts.
Oh, congrats! Cool.
Thank you. Well, actually, Joe Ely is from Lubbock. And so while he has not lived in Lubbock in a long time, we obviously have a lot of the same connections. And so I was discussing how I wanted to turn Already Gone. I wanted to make a duet with that song. And there's a guy here in town who's kind of a local legend that I was going to ask to play it. But, I had a whole segment of my friends and colleagues that said, why don't you ask Joe Ely? And I'm like, for real? And so pretty much it was just a collaboration of everybody that knows Joe and knows me, and like working in the middle to make it happen. And it did. Joe Ely's main right-hand man, if you will, has become a good friend of mine, Don Bowles. And so ultimately, I'd say Don Bowles is the one who made it happen. So I'm definitely indebted to that guy.
And you recorded live together?
We did not do it together. He did his part in his studio in Austin, and I did my part here.
Have you performed it live with him?
I have not performed it live with him. We've seen each other several times since then, but we have not performed it live together. Usually he's doing one of his shows or is in town for shows or something like that. And so we've not really been together in a professional setting where we're singing at the same time. So
You should do that at some point. That would probably be really exciting.
yeah, I mean, I would love to.
And that's on the Whiskey album, right?
Yes, that is on the Free Whiskey album.
Free Whiskey, if people want to go find
Free
that.
Whiskey. Yeah, Free Whiskey. Probably I'd say one of my most requested songs is Free Whiskey. Everybody loves to sing along to that song and drink whiskey. It's kind of a thing.
Well, that takes me to the two that I liked and trying to listen to and get more familiar with your more recent stuff. I was trying to listen to stuff. I liked, well, this one is probably a popular one because it seems like it is Me and My Brother.
Yep, that was one of my radio singles.
And I like I Need a Broken Heart. It's really pretty.
Thank you. Yeah, that's a fun one too. I'd say, the Free Whiskey album was something really new for me at the time. It was the first album that I just came out and I said, I just want to get nuts. I just want to bring in all kinds of crazy instruments. I just want to just have so much fun with it. So we got a horn section out of Nashville to play on it. We, we just really cut loose with it and had a lot of fun.
Can you talk about those two songs just briefly, a little bit? Give us a little insight or tidbit about those two songs.
Me and My Brother and I Need a Broken Heart?
Yeah, please.
Yeah, so Me and My Brother, it actually, it's the story of siblings turned bank robbers running from the law, which was a really fun song for me to write. I'd never written anything like that before. And honestly, it does stem from like a bit of truth because my brother totally stole a pack of chewing gum when he was a little kid. And so that's kind of where that story went from. And I actually dreamt about that song, and I woke up. I like the storyline. I woke up and I was like, oh my God, I'm going to write this song right now. So I wrote that song straight out of bed because I had it in a dream. And when I came down to the choruses, I didn't know, because, it's a singing song. There's really not a melody to it. You're just kind of talking. And I was like, how in the heck am I going to put a chorus to this? And I was like, this song is so ridiculous. I should just yodel. So I did, just yodeling, and just you should check out the music video for that one because it's a bunch of pictures of me and my brother when we were kids, and there's some animation stuff in the choruses, and it's really fun. So yeah, that is definitely a very much requested song. I get requested for that song every single show, and it's fun. It's really fun. We used to have T-shirts that said "Keep calm and yodel on." So, and then I Need a Broken Heart. That is like true song right there. But then again, they all are in one way or another. I just have not been heartbroken in a very long time, and my writing process has pretty much gone away. Like I've been in the worst dry spell because I haven't been able to write songs. And so I was like, I need to write a song about not being able to write a song. And so that's what that was about. And, it's that you're in a sad state of affairs when you're begging for a broken heart. So that's what that whole song is. I need a broken heart, need you to make me cry. Please just walk out the door for me tonight, stuff like that. And it was a fun one. So it's kind of
I don't know the genre.
Kind of
oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. I know there's a delay in the program, so it's hard to get the. No, it's meant to be fun, but it's completely serious at the same time. So go ahead.
It just feels. I want to say it feels 50s to me. I don't know if that's accurate, but I get that feeling when I listen to it.
Yeah. Well, I love vintage music in general. You're going to hear a lot of the vintage, like I said, in the new album, because I just need I don't know. I feel like I'm officially old, even though I'm not even, I'm still in my 30s, so I'm not, really old, but I'm to the point where I'm like, they just don't make music like they did when I was a kid. So I definitely use a lot of the older music influences because that's just what I love. I love music before 2000s, so.
Yeah, me too. I agree with that, but I'm older than you, but still.
You are? I never would have guessed that.
Oh, yeah. I'm in the beginning of the next decade, age, 40s.
Yeah.
If someone were to see you live, do you like to do covers? Do you always do a cover? What are some covers you would do at a live show?
So really it just depends on the show that I'm doing. So if I'm doing a concert setting where I'm playing like an hour and a half, it's probably going to be all original music unless people have a specific request, if it's one of those shows. But a lot of the shows I play are 3 to 4 hours long. So yes, I do play a lot of covers, and I usually kind of have a rotation of like cover original, cover original, cover original sort of a thing. And I do all kinds of stuff from like classic country to one of my favorite covers to play is Black Velvet by Atlanta Miles. Oh, I'm so in love with that song, and I could sing it forever. I do, some Janis Joplin, and I'm all over the place. I do all kinds of stuff. So it really just depends. Like one of my favorite songs to play right now is Sailing by Christopher Cross. So like I said, I love the older music. And yeah, some modern stuff. Chris Stapleton, Millionaire is like one of my favorites right now. And so it just depends.
And if you wanted people to take one main thing away from this new project after listening to it or having it and listening to it, over and over, what would be, like, if you could only choose one thing or one main theme or feeling, what would that be?
Like a theme, a feeling.
Or just what you want the audience to kind of get from it or take away from it.
See, that's the thing. I don't feel like I'm that kind of an artist where I have like one thing that I want you to take away, because one of the things I love the most about music is that people take away different things. And there are some songs that I write that I wrote it to mean A, but that person hears B, and that person hears C, and that person hears D, and it's just, that's a great thing about music is
Right.
People can take away whatever they want to. If they were to do something that I would like, mostly I would just want them to enjoy it or relate to it or have them be touched by it in some way. But as far as the one thing to take away, man, you take away whatever you want to. That's the great thing about music.
A hard question. Yeah, that's a good answer.
Oh, well, thank you.
And why did you said this one's more bluesy? Why did you want to go in a more bluesy direction with this one where you hadn't with the others?
Well, I think you'll find some bluesy stuff all throughout it. Like, honestly, I Need a Broken Heart is very much like a mixture of old school blues and country. Free Whiskey, very bluesy. I've always felt an attachment to the blues. But honestly, I wrote a song called Sometimes a Girl Needs the Blues, and that is the title track. And I thought, man, as much as I put the blues influence into a lot of my songs, I think I might try to make that the thread, the theme, if you will, of the next album. So I basically just took that song and then brought in All Along because it didn't make it to the reboot, and Lover Don't Leave because it didn't make it to the reboot, and just things like that. And it's not like blues every single song, but that's the underlying theme of it all, I think.
Yeah, I love the title. I think it's a great title.
Thank you.
Do you prefer performing or recording, or do you like them both equally?
So I really love them both, and they both feed me in different ways. I really love being in the studio. There is something about being in the studio that you can't get live, and vice versa. Like, some of the best recording that I do is when 10 of my closest friends come sit and listen, and I get to feed off their energy. So I'm getting to do the greatest things of recording as well as the energy from them being in the room, because that's one thing about me is I'm definitely an energy eater, and I don't mean that to sound bad. Like, I'm not sucking the energy out of the room, but if your energy is in the room, I am thriving off of it one way or another. And that's negative and positive. If the room is full of people with negative energy, it impacts me negatively. But if it's a room full of positive energy, there's no greater feeling in the world. And you just can't recreate that in a studio setting without the energy, the physical energy actually being there. So there are things I love about both of them. And if one or the other doesn't work out, I hope to be able to do the other one, So.
So that sounds like would you say you're an extrovert?
I mean, I think I have become more of an extrovert through music because I actually used to be really shy when I first started doing music. And I had a hard time like coming out of my shell. And honestly, that's half the reason I drink whiskey in my shows is because it relaxes me and it allows me to loosen up and be a little more extroverted. But I have gotten to a point where I do feed off of having a lot of people around me. So it's definitely a change that I've made throughout time.
Because I consider myself an introvert and I get drained by being out with people and I have to kind of decompress after being with people. Even if I enjoy them and they're my friends, I still need that decompression and it is very draining to me.
Yeah. I mean, I've been in a situation where it feels like that, but I wasn't around the right people. So
See, for me, it
for me,
doesn't
if I'm
matter.
a, if I, yeah,
Because a lot of musicians are shy and are more introverted, but then when they get on stage, they're just alive and, different than they kind of are one on one or after, not when they're not performing.
right. Well, I mean, I think I'm kind of in that boat because if I'm at home, I probably don't want to go out, you know. And plus, when you're out 5 nights a week around people, like the last thing I want to do is go out the other 2 nights. But
Yeah.
if I'm in show mode, you bet I'm so extroverted. So it really just depends on if I have my switch flipped.
Do you want to talk about your cookbook a little bit?
Sure. I have a culinary degree, and I worked as a chef for a very long time. And through this quarantine, I've obviously had a lot more time to cook because my shows basically involve me going upstairs and coming back downstairs rather than showing up hours earlier and setting up equipment and staying late and tearing it down, which takes up a big portion of your day. So unless I had the day off completely, I really wasn't able to cook very much. And so I've been cooking like crazy throughout this quarantine, and I just would post pictures all over my Instagram and Facebook and stuff, and I had a lot of people say, you need to write a cookbook, you need to write a cookbook, you need to make a cookbook. And so finally I was like, well, let me just try just for fun. And so I started, and man, I'm having a great time. I'm not so good at the recipe thing because when I cook at home, I don't use recipes. I just a little bit of this, a little bit of that. What do I have here? Put that there. So it's hard to translate that to paper when you need measurements, you know. But I'm trying my best, trying my best.
And is this a new project? You just started this, or how long have you been working on it?
I've probably been working on this about a week, maybe.
Oh, okay. And so, do you have a date you want to finish it, or you're just gonna do it as it goes, and you finish it when you finish it?
Pretty much just gonna finish it when I finish it. Honestly, it's recipes. It's all about being in quarantine. So if the quarantine goes
Oh,
on
mhm.
forever,
That's a
then I
nice
will.
spin, maybe
That's
quarantine recipes or something. I don't know.
that's pretty much it. Yeah, it's exactly what the theme of it is. It's all about being in quarantine and what you can make when you're in quarantine, sort of a thing. So if I haven't made it during quarantine, it's not going to be in the cookbook. And if quarantine goes on forever, it'll be a really long cookbook. So we'll see how it all goes.
Is it breakfast, lunch, and dinner? Is it different styles of
Uh,
food?
Oh yeah, right now I've got like my first chapter is dry rubs and sauces because for things that you make, I use a lot of dry rubs and sauces. I love to smoke meat, so I've got dry rubs and sauces, main dishes, side dishes, brunch, desserts. I may even put like a cocktail section in there. We'll see how it goes.
And is cooking your greater? I'm sorry, singing your greater love? You're passionate about cooking. It sounds like as well, and you studied it.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's the thing. I think it really just depends on my mood. Like if you tell me what would I rather do for a job or every day for a living, yes, singing is my dream job and I'm so grateful to get to do that. Um and somehow not doing it as a job, cooking has become more of like a stress release, something fun for me to do, something like another creative outlet. So when I was working in kitchens, and you're cooking all day, you don't want to go home and cook. I mean, you do it at sometimes, but it just kind of burns you out. It's like even after, if I'm doing music all day, I'm not going to come home and sing some more. So it's allowed me to it's
Yeah.
allowed me to enjoy both of them. And so cooking is one of my favorite things to do, just to release, just to have fun.
That's what the quarantine I think has done for me as well. Like, do we should do the things we really want to do, like this podcasting. I've been thinking, I love interviewing people, and I haven't done it, and so I had been thinking about it before quarantine already. But it's like, why
Yeah.
not do it now? Like, so the
Why
things
not? You got time.
we all really want to do, and I'm not getting paid for this, but it's something I do want to do and enjoyed in the past in different ways. Um,
Right, right,
so I think we all should try to find those things that we are passionate about or wanted to try or wanted to go back to and we're scared or too busy. We have time now to
right.
explore.
Exactly.
What's your specialty? Do you have a specialty?
I wouldn't say that I necessarily do. When I was working, I was a pastry chef, so I got pretty good at that. But honestly, baking is not my favorite. I love salt, I love chilies, I love spicy. So no, I hope that maybe I'm just kind of equally good at a lot of different things, equally bad at a lot of different things. I don't know. I love to do it all, but anything spicy, Mexican, Tex-Mex, that's definitely my love.
Yeah, it sounds very southern, southwestern Texan.
Yeah.
All right, so I know you have another interview, so I don't want to keep you too long. I did want you to sing a cappella for us, something, a little something, if you wouldn't mind.
Oh, okay. I have actually an a cappella song. I know we kind of touched on whiskey a little bit. That
You don't have
how
to
much
do
I
like
love whiskey.
you don't have to do the whole song, but just like give us a little taste.
Well, I don't mind doing the whole song. It's a cappella song anyway. But if you want to cut me off, that's fine. But
Well,
it's going to be on the next album.
we have time. If we have time, sure.
Oh yeah, it's only like 2 minutes long at the most.
Oh,
It's meant to be. It's meant to be something fun that say like a drunk group of people in a bar would start singing. So
you
it's
said
just
this is
meant
a
to be a
new
little bit
song?
of fun. Yeah, this is the new song. It's going to be on the album I'll put out in 2022. It's called Once You Go Bourbon, You Never Go Back. And so
Okay.
just picture like a group of drunk people in a bar, maybe like in Ireland where you see in the movies they start jigging and singing, and so it's like, oh, once you go bourbon, you never go back. There's something about the taste that it has, the burn that you're feeling, it ain't gonna last. Once you go bourbon, you never go back. I started with sweet, mild and kind, Canadian whiskey, but soon changed my mind. The next step was Irish, and it was okay, but my favorite whiskey comes from the USA. Oh, once you go bourbon, you never go back. There's something about the taste that it has, the burn that you're feeling, it ain't gonna last. Once you go bourbon, you never go back. So there's the second half to the song that I didn't sing, but that's pretty much the point. It's kind of like my journey through my whiskey love.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So, do you perform that one right now? Do you
I have a
perform?
few times. Yeah, not very regularly, but it's really fun because I do it with my band, and so there's like 3-part harmonies going on, and it's just really fun. I've done that as an encore a handful of times, but it's nothing that's made it to the regular set yet.
All right, so I think we're ready to close. Is there anything else you wanted to mention or talk about before we leave?
No, I don't think so. Just it's good to catch up with you, and
You
I
too. Thank
appreciate
you again so
you
much for
doing
doing
this.
that.
Oh,
My
it's been a
first
blast.
my first ever guest on Popolio podcast. Thank you so much.
Thank you. If there's anything else I can do for you, let me know. You have my number.
I do. I will. Everyone know, like, all your social media, where they should go, and
Oh,
the date.
yeah. So perfect. Yeah, we kind of mentioned this earlier. So I'm doing these online shows. They're Facebook Live shows. So just go to my Facebook page, facebook.com/JDL Music. And I post schedules up there with all my upcoming shows. And I have the Facebook pages that they're on and everything. So check that out, or check out my website, JenniDaleLord.com. I've been trying to keep them on my schedule as well, with the addresses to go to, the web addresses and stuff like that. So you don't have to leave your quarantine, and you can come check out some fun shows. And yeah, website, Spotify, digital music, everywhere. Just look up Jenni Dale Lord Band, and that's JenniDaleLord, and you should just be able to find whatever you need. And if not, message me. I'll take care of it.
And the virtual shows, I'm sorry, we probably said it, but just to clarify, it's all with the same radio station? Or are you doing different things with different
Oh
organizations?
no, they're all different pages. Like yesterday I was on Real Texas Radio. Tonight I'll be on True Texas Radio. Thursday I'll be on my page. Friday I'll be on a different station though. So they're all different. I do
Oh,
have
that's
some
nice.
recurring ones, but no, they're all different.
And they reached out to you, or you did, or how
Yeah.
did you make that happen?
Yeah, well I have a radio promoter, and so pretty much anything I do with radio stations goes through him. So he takes care of all that for me. Dylan Steen Promotions.
Nice. Well, oh, I just thought of a question. Any advice to other musicians during this time?
Just keep playing. Do a Facebook Live show on your page. You know, it's going to be frustrating, and I'm not going to lie, I've cried. I've been frustrated. It's not an easy time, but just like anything that you want to do, no matter what it is, you just never stop doing it. Just keep
Right.
on going. Keep swimming, keep swimming, keep swimming. Yeah.
Well, this concludes our very first interview. Thank you so much. Stay safe and continue to self-isolate.
Same to you, honey. Same to you. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Talk to you later.
Have a good day.
Bye-bye.
Bye.